Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Spencer.
I'm Dan.
And this is the Board Game Rundown, and today we're going to do a review of Chucky from Trick or Treat Studios. This game plays 2 to 4 players, says about an hour. That's probably accurate. I mean, even with Teach, game plays pretty quick. In this game, we basically have survived a previous Chucky encounter, and now nobody ever believes us about the crazy story. Then when crazy stuff starts happening again, we're trying to gather evidence to prove that it's Chucky and also survive.
Well, yeah.
Because he is attacking us constantly. So in this game, basically, we're going to have these. Every player is going to have 4 time tokens in their color. They've got different numbers on them and different values. And what's going to happen is we're going to take turns placing a token down in one of the locations we'd like to go to. And that number is basically our bid to try to go there. Now, sometimes you might throw off because there's consolation part of the board down here where depending on the number that didn't win, you might get some victim tokens, you might get a time token. So very important. There are times where you're trying to lose a bid so you can pay for stuff.
Yeah, so you can pay for it.
Because on our boards here, each of our player boards, we've all got stats. There's attack, escape, and search. So we could be increasing, decreasing those stats based on like how things go. If you win a bid you cannot pay for, you have to take out, you lose stats basically to pay the equivalent of the cost. The cost is right here on the side. The first round goes through. It's a little bit cheaper. The second round, it is more expensive. When we pay, we're going to be filling up this track here. And then if you cover up, if your victim token covers up one of those card slots, you're going to get evidence cards from there, either 1 or 2. When we fill up the whole track, the track will reset, but we're going to draw a Bloodlust card with Chucky, and then that's going to do 2 things. One, it's going to basically punish everyone first. And then at the end of the game, when we get to the final encounter, the track that has the most Bloodlust cards is going to be the type of final encounter that we have. And then, we're going to go through. You're going to basically... Once you've played 2 tokens, we go through, we resolve each location. Everybody's going to get the boosts, and everything, or the victims. And then after we go a second round of doing that, and then we're going to resolve crime scene 1, and we're going to randomly each get a card out of the crime scene, and it's going to present a couple of different types of challenges. You might have a press your luck where you start at 1 and then you keep rolling. You might have a this or that. You pick a stat that you're going to roll against. So you're going to add your stat and the die roll and try to hit that target number. And they give you little indicators on like what kind of reward you might get. You might get evidence cards. You might get quirks. You might get victims. There's also like... not just press your luck. There are where you're like an art card, or maybe you pick a number and you're hiding behind that number, and so you're going to roll X amount of die, and as long as that number isn't rolled,
he doesn't find you.
He doesn't find you. So there's all kinds of different little challenges in here in each one of these decks, and we go through until we have done that 3 times. Then we hit the final encounter. And we go for it. There are going to be quirk cards that you can get. The quirk cards they're going to give you an immediate reward. Usually it's a stat boost. Is it always a stat boost? It looks like it's always a stat boost, which is awesome. And then it's going to basically be like discard X amount of clues and gain this. And then it's going to also be worth victory points at the end of the game. The end of the game, you are going to score points based on how well of a success you had in your challenges that you fought, and then how far you got in the final encounter. The final encounter is a cumulative sort of thing. Everybody tries the first time, you add all your stats, and you roll a die. If you beat the target number, you keep going, and you're going to get points based on where you go out, where you fail. And that's kind of the game. I mean, it plays relatively quick. Everything is pretty straightforward. And so Bob.
Yeah.
What'd you think of Chucky?
I thought it was pretty fun. So at first, I really thought it was going to be a cooperative type of game, like everybody, like a one versus many or something like that. But no, it was really interesting the way it kind of works. We're all doing our separate thing, and we all want to be the one that kind of like brings Chucky down, type of thing, right? By collecting our evidence and doing those types of things. I really liked the bidding system. I thought that was an interesting way to go through and like secretly bid on the different locations. And then there's nice consolation prices, because you might put a decent sized bid out there that doesn't get you anything, doesn't win the location, but you're going to get some victims, which are going to help you pay next time, right? You can put a higher bid out there, or bid maybe where the Chucky is, because Chucky's going to make it more expensive to bid at his location. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I would have liked to have seen a little more variety in some of those, like the research and the clue cards and whatnot, because there were a lot of like repeats. But they were still like interesting. They did cool things, right? Like, oh, I lost. Well, I'm still gonna get to complete the ability, or oh, this gets to increase this stat, or this lets me set the die to what I want it to be, and that's always helpful to have that mitigation in there. I did enjoy the crime scenes. I thought they were pretty flavorful, and like the different types of crime scenes that there are, and the way of dealing with those. Like you're saying, like, oh, here's this picture of a location. Choose where you want to hide. Roll the die, and then depending on if you want to be an easy, medium, or hard, you can roll multiple die and try to increase the benefit of your reward. The player board's super nice, and so it's got that dual layer function to keep track of your cubes and your stats. And then it also has like a dual layer function to where you slide those crime scenes up and down to keep track of where how well you did with those. And so that's a neat way to track that. But no, I thought it was fun. And then, like I said, the way those tracks worked and the bidding, I thought was super interesting, and I liked it.
Yeah. Spencer.
Yeah, I've played this a number of times now. I definitely liked the bidding system as well. I think it's neat. There's a lot of tension, especially when 2 of the time tokens go down. They're much higher numbers than the others.
Yes.
And so when you see 2 time tokens go down, and most of them aren't going to get a constellation because they're too high for it. And so now you're like, oh no. And it gets kind of fun. I really like the flavor text on all these things.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good text, and you can dig as much into that as you want, or as little as you want. You can be like, I did the thing, I succeeded, and that's fine. Or you can, get into the story with it.
Yeah, I really like that. Especially each card, everyone gets their own, and so I get my own little story. I think that's cool. I had fun with it. Every time I played so far, I've ended up with maxed or almost maxed stats. So I just wonder if maybe I'm doing something like too right. or or wrong.
Sure.
But yeah.
Daniel.
Hi, I actually want to preface this by saying we have a good relationship with Trick or Treat Studios.
We do. They sent us this copy.
We've met them multiple times. We have contact with them. We recently reviewed Halloween, if you're a fan of the Halloween theme, and that is a hidden movement game, so if that interests you. And we all very much enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite hidden movement games. This game did nothing for me. So first of all, I came in not caring about Chucky, which is semi-relevant. Like, it's not really that relevant, but like, I loved Halloween, so I was into the theme on that one. I don't love Chucky, so the theme doesn't do anything. That's completely subjective to if you really want a Chucky game or not. But then on top of that, everyone knows, listen, you've heard it from them, right? Man, they love the bidding in this game. I can't stand bidding games. I just can't stand it. It is such an uninteresting mechanic to me. Everything is annoying when I'm putting a number out and he just so happens to beat me by 1 or just so happens to not beat me by 1. Lucky me, I guess. I don't get into the social aspect of reading people to see if I really think Bob is bluffing that he wants to go to 2 or not. I'll just play a social deduction game if I want that. Like, I don't understand that. And the 2 main things in this game are buffing and push your luck. Neither of which I'm really big on. So I don't think it's like a terrible game. There's an interesting design here. I love the crime scene quest kind of system. It reminds me of the Firefly game where you're going down like, okay, first you have to pass this skill test, and then if you do that, you can pass this skill test. I like that kind of stuff in games, and when we get to that, I'm in every single time. I love that, and then having them flip with your grading system on your player board here. There's some good design stuff going here for sure. It literally just comes down to the fact that this game wasn't designed for me, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not the audience they were reaching for. Someone who doesn't like the theme or the mechanics of a game means I'm probably not going to like the game, and that's perfectly fine. So if you don't like Chucky or bidding, then maybe listen to my opinion, but otherwise, you can listen to these 3 guys. That's absolutely fine. I will not be offended. So
sure.
That's it. It was a miss for me, but they make good stuff. I'll play their next game.
No, I mean, totally legit.
Yeah.
I think out of the three between Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, and the Chucky, this is the weakest of the three, if you want to call it a trilogy.
The other two are so strong.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I think also high bar. Kind of like Dan, I like the first couple of Chucky movies. I kind of fall out of love with them later on. But I like the early ones, and maybe that's just nostalgia, old man, get off my lawn. But this kind of gives you a nice mix of like movie references, especially from the early ones, and definitely some stuff from the new ones, so that you're going to get some stuff in there that if you're a fan, you're going to find things you really like. In Chainsaw and in Halloween, the theme really comes off a lot stronger for me. They do a really nice job with all of the flavor text, though. All of the story stuff is really interesting, and it makes sense. It's like, oh yeah, I saw that in a movie. You know, so all of that is really good, and I think that that's where this game, I kind of agree with Dan. I mean, I like bidding games, but I kind of agree with Dan where this is the most fun part of the game for me as well. Like, this is my favorite part of the game, right here. This part's interesting, and you really are kind of having to... There's some luck here, and like I definitely had a turn where I was very frustrated because I could not win a bid to save my life.
You did get a lot of bodies out of it, though.
I did, but it didn't do
anything for you.
It didn't do anything for me. If these were points at the end of the game or a tiebreaker, maybe that would have helped a little, right? But after a while, the consolation prize is not as consoling.
Not as helpful,
right? So if those were points at the end of the game, hell yeah, right?
Yeah, at the end, some of these spots are completely useless. I don't need a time token if we're not doing anything else.
Right. But you may be trying to fill out this track so that you can get some cards.
Which is what I was trying to do. Trying to get those cards.
So they're not totally useless. I will push back on that because there are things, because there was definitely times, especially playing it multiple times, and now I've seen other people exploit really just trying to push these tracks up to get those cards.
Get the 2 cards.
Where that didn't happen as much the first time we played it, whereas more like everybody's trying to buff all their stats first and then do some things. So I think you're going to see the game play out a few different ways, depending on people's play style and experience. I don't think this game's like solvable or anything like that.
No.
Because there's a lot of randomness.
It purposely has push your luck as a mechanism.
100%.
It's not like it's a pure luck game, but it purposely has that as a mechanism, so that's fine.
You literally said on there, push your luck.
Unlike Dan, I do enjoy the bidding aspect of games. That is a mechanic that I do like. Not every game needs to have it, but when it's there and it works, it makes sense and it's fun. And for me, it was here. It made sense. It was fun. Because, yes, I mean, I was I was loading these up. I mean, I got frustrated, but the next round,
you could do anything you wanted.
I could do anything I wanted. I also made a point to get a bunch of these time tokens.
To make sure
so some of that is also, well, Tim, play better. Have at least one of these in your pocket so that you've got a much better chance. You know, now there was one where Dan and I played. They were literally one number apart. Who won that one? Did I win it?
28, you won.
Yeah.
Barely, right? And
so then you played a card, let you do it anyway.
Right, sure.
Also true. Also true.
I like that because there's a lot of times where you do a bidding thing and you might lose by 1 and then you get nothing for it. And that could be so demoralizing. So the fact that for the most part, I mean, otherwise, unless your token is too big.
Right.
But for the most part, you get something for participating in the bid, and that is helpful.
Yeah, and I think they do a nice job of mitigating a lot of that with the cards.
Yeah.
Like by the way you're able to get the cards and everything like that. So theme-wise, this is the weakest for me of the three like IP horror, but the game still plays really well, and it functions really well. It's an easy teach. This is, a game that horror fans, like I can get horror fans to sit down and play any of these games.
They've impressed me. There's kind of a double-edged sword thing going on right here too, to where Trick or Treat has impressed me with the fact that they now have 3 games that they have come out with. I mean, there's more stuff, but like in this 3 horror movie thing that we've covered.
Yes.
Now they now have 3 games that are a completely different mechanism and play style.
All different play styles.
We have like a difficult co-op. We have a hidden movement game, and we now have like a bidding game.
Yeah.
Right. And the fact that they all play is very impressive, coming from a company and stuff. The other side of that is that we have now seen this slight boop kind of thing to where Halloween game made sense to be a hidden movement game. The Texas Chainsaw made sense to be a difficult co-op where you're killing the good guys.
Well, you're running away. You're the good guys.
You're the good
You're
guys.
the good
You
guys.
are the good guys. I didn't
play
play
that.
that. I didn't play it with them. I thought that
No,
they said you were
yeah.
playing the bad
Well,
guys, and I was like, that's
honestly,
funny.
we haven't even talked about House of a
House
Thousand
of
Corpses,
yeah.
which isn't
that's the
which
one
isn't
we're
out.
playing.
So that's the fourth
That's the
one.
fourth one. That one was really good too. Yeah,
That's a bad boy right there.
Right.
That's a really
That's
good
the one I was thinking of because you guys were
Yes.
talking to me about it. But so, and that makes sense. And then you get this one where like, does a Chucky game make sense to be a bidding game? And you see this maybe dip in not quality, but like they sacrificed theme for mechanic a bit here. And I'm not sure if it's just because they really wanted a bidding game in their catalog.
Sure.
And that's a business
fine.
move. That's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. But there's just an interesting dynamic going on there of why is this one the most out there mechanic-wise compared to the theme. So,
Sure. No, that's a fair point. I don't know. I mean, yes, we have a very wonderful relationship with them, and this is a company that where so far their track record's pretty dang good as far as putting out games that I've enjoyed quite a bit.
Not just games. It's like what I'm trying to say is like when I saw them at the convention stuff, they just have really good products.
Oh
in
yeah,
general.
well yeah, they sell the movie prop.
Yeah,
or
so
prop
it's
stuff.
it's just cool seeing this kind of growth. But anyway,
But yeah, theme wise, again, and yeah, I totally wasn't even bringing up House of a Thousand Corpses, but I mean, like again, their themes really like bled
Come
into
through,
the
yeah.
game a lot more. Bled, see what I did there? Into the game a lot more than this one. So theme wise, this is the weakest one.
Right.
But they really do try to give you that feeling with
the crime scenes.
With the
Yeah.
crime scenes,
Right.
which again is probably why that's my favorite part.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, I like especially the final encounter. You have so many different endings.
Yes, and again, if you have a group that really likes to read through all of that and like,
Yeah, it does say in the book too to read through the flavor and kind of like help to bring that out.
but you don't have to
Right.
because Mike doesn't like that kind of thing sometimes, and so it's like, well, I'm going to read it to myself, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so we've got people in our game group and in our show, right, that don't always love that kind of thing. I think most of us really actually kind of like the flavor text.
I don't think Spencer likes reading.
No, Spencer.
No.
Yeah, he doesn't even like writing. Much less reading.
He's like words.
Yeah, ugh, gross. Give me math. But but no, I mean, I see what I understand. Again, like we sat down and I'm like, oh no, we're getting Dan to play a bidding game because he
After doing another one earlier too.
yeah, and because Dan didn't get to play
His lucky day.
House of a Thousand Corpses.
Exactly. So it was very kind to
And
involve me in
and
this.
he didn't get to play Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which were
Right.
two that we really liked a lot.
Right,
you
and
know?
you probably would have liked a lot more.
Probably. When I was like, oh,
Rub it in a little bit.
we're doing Chucky, so Dan can sit in on a trick or treat game, and I totally did not think about it being bidding.
Yeah.
So I apologize, but also thank you for being a good sport.
Hey, man, you know. Dissension in the ranks.
No, it's fine.
Get him.
But the nice thing is, I think this game is very accessible. You know, I think that everything they do, this is a low bar to entry.
like a simple mechanics and like a lower rules overhead.
It is
Yeah.
a very nice introduction to bidding for sure. I mean, the bidding system is simple. It has actual interesting things going on with the fact that like once you bid there, you can't there again this round, but then you can for the next time around. Whatever that's called, and then the fact that you have consolation prizes once you come down here and everything.
That's really nice.
I think
That's really
I think that's a nice way to be like, hey, you like poker? I don't know. You like bidding games?
My only other
I can't think of one.
nitpick really is I think the board is ugly. I wish the board looked a little better. It does what it functions very well.
It does because actually I was
I've
gonna say
seen
it makes
much
it easy
worse,
to determine
but,
Yes.
whose tokens is whose, right? Because the different colors have different icons on the back, so that is super
Yeah,
helpful.
and they were going for this kind of
Yeah.
color palette.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
look.
It's just like you have this cool background art of the
It
city.
is crazy. The background is like almost going for like
Realistic.
photorealism.
Yeah.
kind of
And,
thing.
and the art on the cards is all really good. You know, like I appreciate all of that. There's art on the cards and stuff. But like with this and then the white is just kind of ugly. But it's fine. It's functional. It's very functional. And
I do like to have the term breakdown on the
it's
board. As
always helpful. Always helpful. And then you have a round summary as well on everybody's player boards.
Yep.
And everybody's stats start out differently.
yeah.
Yeah, asymmetrical. It's nice.
So, anyways, we should give this a rating. Daniel,
Me.
how do we do ratings?
I can't do a Chucky voice. We're each going to rate this game from 1 to 10 personally based on our own likes and interests. Then at the end, we're going to average them all together. So there's one rating for stuff like Board Game Geek. You can be like, what did Board Game Rundown give this on Board Game Geek? Profile, rating, something like that. But we all want to get our own opinions in there as well.
That's right. Bobby,
Yeah.
what are you giving Chucky?
I give it a 7.5. I enjoyed it. I would play it again. I don't necessarily need to have it in my collection as long as it's in the family and I
Right.
have access to it. But yeah.
Right on. Spencer.
I'm getting a 7. Yeah, I would definitely play it again. I'd like to go through more of the different scenarios.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's the other thing.
Yeah,
is
there's
there are
other
also
crime
There's lots of them, yeah.
unused crime scenes, so we haven't seen all of them yet. With a couple of plays. Daniel,
Hi.
wet blanket. No, you're
Listen,
fine.
I don't like the mechanisms. I don't like the theme. I love this system that bumps it up a bit. I'm landing on a 5. It just
Okay.
wasn't for me. It's not a bad game by any means. When I was sitting here, I was having a pretty good time until like the last round when I was getting my butt kicked. But before then, I was having a pretty good time. It's interesting, but at the end of the day, it's not what I want to play.
Sure. 7.5 for me. I think it does a lot of things right. And again, it's not going to be the first one I grab off the shelf out of their horror movie IP themed games. But if there's a Chucky fan and they're like, what's that? I'm like, let's go.
Well, they just have to play one of the other Chucky board. Oh, wait. Yeah, exactly. If you're a Chucky fan,
Yeah.
you're getting what you want. That's
It's
cool.
and it's a no-brainer. If you're a Chucky fan, this is a no-brainer. Also, I think Chucky fans will put this up even higher. It's just that the other games of theirs that I played, I like those movies better.
Yeah,
Right.
same.
I'm not gonna lie. I legitimately am probably gonna go home and start working on what I would do for a Hellraiser game. Because I joke about it all the time that I want them to do it, and then I'm just like, you know what?
Just do it.
I'll do it. You know, and if I beat you to it, I'll give you my pitch.
Sure.
So if you take all of our scores and you average them together, it's a 6.8.
That's
not
not
too
bad.
bad. Not too
No,
bad.
bad.
I'm happy with
Still
that.
solid. And I think, again, right, everybody knows. Dan was very clear.
I tanked it.
No, yeah, he tanked it. No, I mean, Dan was very clear on his likes and dislikes and everything. And I think, I sit here and dislike games all the time, and it's like, look, I don't think that it's like fundamentally a bad game. It just wasn't my game, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that all of that's very fair. Well, thank you guys. And if you found this video useful, please considering liking, subscribing, all those things. We also do have a Patreon if you'd like to support the show financially and help us keep creating all this fun, exciting content for you. But if that's not your bag, please just leave us a comment. What's your favorite Chucky movie?
Oh, yeah.
That's the easy one.
And if you
Child's
like
Play movie.
If you like reading, I wrote a book, and there are probably going to be some links below.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. We'll see. We'll see if the
We'll see what
Chuck
we
Is it
can
about
clears.
Chucky?
It's not about Chucky.
We'll see if the Chuck clears.
One of the
does
good
involve
guys. One of the good
okay.
guys.
There we go. Yeah, you're one of the good guys. So none of us.
Well, Chucky's a good guy.
Not anymore.
Oh, he's a good guy.
He was a good guy until he was Chucky. Then he stopped being a good guy.
Perspective.
Watch the movie, Bob.
Yeah, geez, first one's got Chris Sarandon in it. Really good.
I've seen the first one.
Shut up. For the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.
Spencer.
Daniel.